In 1 month and 1 day, we will celebrate the 17th birthday of the iPhone. Right? Our lives have changed. You remember, well, most of you, that before that, the BlackBerry was the coolest thing. I say this because it sets the context, the time for technology that this story is within. iPhone drops June 2007. 3 months later, on a very hot September day, Megan and I get married. So we're coming up on 17. Okay. Yes. Next time somebody asks, we will get that answer correct. Neither of us could remember it the other week. 17. So September, we get married. The day we get married, when we are going from the wedding to the reception, my friends are driving, and the only way I can describe what happened is kidnapping. We get dropped off at a farm, sort of close to the reception site, where we meet an Amishman, Mose, close friend of my father-in-law, and my friends leave. Mose is there with an open horse and buggy, court and buggy, if you're from Lancaster, and we are not able to get to the reception because he is saying, I can't leave until John, my father-in-law, gives the okay. So he keeps calling John on his iPhone. That's right, the Amishman, 3 months in. I didn't get an iPhone for years. I had an iPod Touch, maybe, around that time. Nope, can't go. All right, that's not super relevant, but that was a bit of a thrill ride coming in on that carriage into our wedding reception. Again, it's to set the context. That's how long ago it was. Amish were just getting iPhones for the first time. February, just a few months later, Kosovo becomes a new country as it declares independence from Serbia. And a family friend invites me to go along with him and his wife on a trip to visit some international service workers in Kosovo. So not long into Kosovo's existence, as in 7 weeks into its existence as an independent country, I am on a flight on my way to Kosovo by myself, because the person who invited me, he and his wife, are on a longer trip, and they're going to meet me in Vienna, Austria, where we're going to continue on together to Kosovo. So I get to Vienna, and I get into the airport, and I have several hours, so I think, why don't I go explore Vienna? So I get on the metro, I can read a metro map, and I head towards the center of the city. And I think, I'm going to ask somebody on the car where I should get off to see the center of the city. None of them speak English. I'm thinking, this is Europe. Of course everybody's going to speak English. Nope, there's a bunch of young people, like high school, college age, none of them speak English. So I just eventually see a stop that looks kind of nice. I hop off, I go and I get a cappuccino, not knowing I was lactose intolerant at the time. Get a cappuccino, get a local newspaper that I can't read, and I sit down in the coffee shop. I drink my cappuccino. I hop back on the train, I head back to the airport, plenty of time to spare. So I head towards my gate. And I don't know if you've been in the Vienna, Austria airport. It's my first and only time there. And I don't know if this is the whole airport, but the area I was in was set up with little hubs. So you wouldn't go through security until you actually got to your gate. So I'm waiting in the hub for the people that I'm supposed to be traveling with. They're not coming. And I'm eventually thinking, I got to go through security with or without them. So I get in the security line, and I'm waiting in the security line, and a little old lady butts in front of me. And she is everything that I would hope for in a babushka. The whole babushka image. She butts in front of me, and the airport staff explain to her that this is a line, she needs to go to the back. She doesn't understand English, she doesn't understand German, and I say, it's okay, just let her be. So she goes through security in front of me, we get up, and she's the next one to go through, and they ask her to take off her coat, again in English and German. She still has not learned either one. So I gently help her take the coat off, and they take it, and she goes through, and she sets off the metal detector. So one of them lazily takes a wand, waves it in front of her, and tells her to go. Because it's a babushka. I mean, what's she going to do? She goes, she sits down, I go through, no incident. As I come through, she sees me, and she waves me over and pats the seat next to her. So I go, and I sit down, and she starts chattering away to me in a language that I don't understand. And so I'm just sort of sitting there listening and nodding along. And another guy, a little older than me, sits down on the other side of her. And he initially speaks to me in a language I don't understand. Then in English, we discover that he thinks that I'm her son. I'm not her son. And he translates for us in Albanian. We go and we get on the flight. She checks on both of us to make sure we're okay. Flight starts. When we are coming into Kosovo, we start our descent. 30 minutes of turbulence. Beautiful sky outside. 30 minutes. We're descending. It is awful. I mean, not the worst turbulence, but some of the worst turbulence I've experienced. As we're about to touch down, the airplane takes off again. 30 minutes back up to cruising altitude. Turbulence the whole way up. Circles around. As we're circling, the pilot says, too much crosswind, I'm going to have to try again. Comes down. 30 minutes of turbulence. We're about to touch down. Pilot accelerates again as we're about to touch down, takes off, 30 minutes up to cruising altitude. Pilot says, we don't have enough fuel to do this again. We're going to go to Skopje. I don't know where Skopje is. Macedonia. And I'm thinking, I don't know where we are. We go, we get refueled. 3 hours later, we are again coming into land, crosswinds, shaking the plane like crazy. I think we're going to die. Landing gear is down again, just like it was 2 other times. Everything feels exactly the same. I've mostly flown into Latin America, and I'm used to the Latin American excitement when we land in Costa Rica and everybody cheers. This is Eastern Europe. I have also traveled in Eastern Europe. People don't cheer. It's very, very cold and somber, to generalize, but fairly. We're coming in, and the plane is tilting and dipping, and it feels like that wing is going to dig into the earth. The pilot brings it down, gets both tires on the ground. I'm sitting next to a guy from the Austrian military, and he is terrified. And I'm thinking, if you're terrified, I'm terrified. Also, I feel sick. Lands the plane, comes to a stop, and a bunch of Eastern Europeans cheer in excitement about this thrill ride and arriving safely. Thank you.